Strait of Hormuz could be shut is a threat that Iran has made several times in the past, but it is now beginning to act on it. And with that threat, that prospect, Asian markets plunged while oil prices also briefly hit 5-month highs amidst concerns of disruptions to energy markets after that threat came in from Tehran. It is still yet to be stamped by its senior-most Security Council, but if that actually happens, it could have devastating consequences for the global trade and global shipping lines. An output of about 3.3 million barrels per day actually travels through this route. The reason for that is Iran is the world's 9th biggest oil-producing country, and it exports almost half of that amount, keeping the rest for domestic consumption. And if Tehran does decide to retaliate, observers say one of the options of closing the Strait of Hormuz could mean that a fifth of global oil output would immediately stand to be impacted. A final decision, as I said, is yet to be taken, but both markets and price and crude market have reacted to that. But the response has been largely subdued so far, simply because it is yet to be stamped out by its senior-most security cabinet. Now, to understand the kind of impact this could have in terms of what it means for India, let's quickly now try and decode that for you viewers in terms of what this would mean for India if at all Strait of Hormuz actually is shut. Let's put some of those points for our viewers to understand that India right now is shielded to a large extent, but it's not immune. It's not immune from a crude shock, if at all, that Strait of Hormuz actually gets shut. Now, why is that? Why is India immune to some extent? Because a lot of its crude basket is now extremely diversified, and more than a third of its total crude actually now comes from Russia, something that has happened in the last 3 years ever since the Russia-Ukraine war started, and India was able to buy the discounted Russian oil, which now accounts for 35 to around 38% of its overall oil demands. And the most important part is that the Russian crude oil does not go from the Strait of Hormuz. It actually is shipped to India through the Cape of Good Hope. So this 35 to 38% of India's crude remains intact. There will not be a direct impact if the Strait of Hormuz shuts, because this is through the Russian oil. Now, the LNG imports of India will be impacted because that is something we still have a large dependence, not from Russia, but from some of the other big players in the region, that is Qatar as well as UAE, and along with America. These are the 3 big LNG exporters for India, and this will be impacted because this is supplied through the Strait of Hormuz, and that will have an impact on the overall India finances. India's sovereign finances will be impacted if the Strait of Hormuz is actually shut. As I said, we are shielded to a large extent, but we are not immune, because if it impacts everyone, we will also be impacted, and that will have a cascading impact on our overall finances. And given the fact that India is the world's 2nd largest crude importer, it will have an impact on our currency and overall finances as well. But as of now, viewers, I repeat what I said, which is that we are largely shielded. But if it gets worse from here, we are not immune to it. And that's exactly what the Petroleum Minister also said, Mr. Hardeep Puri. Listen in.
We had diversified the sources of supply. And out of the 5.5 million barrels of crude oil that India consumes daily, about 1.5 and 2 million only come through the Straits of Hormuz. We import roughly 4 million barrels through other routes. And our companies, the oil marketing companies, have enough stocks. We are in touch with all possible actors in this, the supply routes, etc. And I believe that there is no cause for any alarm on this score.